Hey guys, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just wanted to give you some of my thoughts after Michigan lost number one Oregon 38-17 today. Just not surprising, really. I mean, I've watched Michigan this whole year. It's a game again where you could have seen, oh, there was a chance there to be more in the game, and they don't make the plays. I wasn't expecting Michigan to beat this team. I'll have to be honest. I don't want to be like one of those fans, but I kind of find it encouraging that we weren't obliterated like I thought we could have been. I mean, you start off in the first half of the game, Michigan 3-and-out on their first possession, 3-and-out the second possession I think it was, but then the special teams play, they forced a fumble and Michigan capitalized with a touchdown on the short field, like 28-yard field, to make it 7-7. Like, okay, but that was just like fake, because it was just a short drive and Michigan didn't really have anything to do with it. You forced their turnover, great, but it wasn't anything that looked sustainable. Oregon just methodically going up and down the field. They went 5 for 6 in the first half on third downs. Michigan got one stop, and when they got the stop, what they do? 3-and-out on their own. Even when they got the ball on their own side of the 50, they go 3-and-out. Some interesting things, especially in the first half, that the overall game flow, I knew Michigan was going to lose as soon as you hear that Will Johnson and Jair Hill were out. Michigan's top two cornerbacks are out against one of the most prolific pass attacks in the country. And so when they're out, you're like, okay, well, that's going to be a loss. And then you have Percy, Michigan's O-lineman or backup O-lineman. He got injured on a punt coverage and such. Great, just great. So it wasn't a great start. Oregon just up and down the field. But you got to point it out. Even though I don't know how much it played into the whole game, you can hyperbole, or hypothesize is the word I want to say here. Oregon's first drive, they go down there on third down, third and goal, they throw, and they get called a touchdown pass, and when CBS comes back, they show angles where the ball clearly hits the ground. No replay review by the Big Ten. It counted. So at most, in my perfect world, which wouldn't have happened, it didn't happen, so, in the multiverse it could have, but Michigan, Dan Lanning, he's a gambler, he would have gone for it on fourth down, and Michigan would have got a stop, and I'll just make it even better. They would have returned a fumble for or a pick for a touchdown, and somehow the defense wouldn't get tired. Yeah, so you go right back out on the field. But anyways, the Big Ten screwed that one up big time. They didn't review it. They didn't see the ball hit the ground. CBS saw it. But no, not the Big Ten. You can't expect them to review the plays. That's not what they're there for. Anyways, Michigan's offense was really a big problem. Oregon's going to be methodical and doing a great job. They did. Oregon gave up very little pressure on Gabriel. And even if he did get pressure, he just evaded it and threw the ball away. Yeah, I don't even think Michigan got a sack. There was one play, I think, where Moore tackled him outside the tackle box. It might have been a quarterback run. I don't know for sure if I would count that as a sack or not, but I don't think it was. So you got 0 sacks against this guy. Just elusive. The only positive play you have is he'll throw it away. So I'm like, that's not very rewarding. On the other side of it, Michigan had at least 5 plays in the first half for negative yards. And I don't know what it was, but Mullings was not able to get anything going, where Edwards actually was able to get some stuff going, and he was falling forward and getting some yards. He was averaging, I think, 4 to 5 yards a carry, then he hit that 16-yarder or something like that in the second half. But Michigan's rush attack has just been dried up, and I understand you're playing better defenses, I suppose. Michigan State just, was just running their safeties into the box good old D'Antonio defense. And there's no reason you have to be afraid of a Michigan offense. We don't stretch the field. How many plays you look at a replay and everyone's going 10 yards downfield, maybe 15. There's never someone going a deep route just in case. What if someone slips? What if there's, a bust in the coverage? No. And I don't know if that's just because our quarterbacks can't throw a deep ball or the scheme. I don't know. But you see where Oregon, they have 4 or 5 wide receivers out there, and they're throwing short throws, but their quarterback's accurate, on time. And even if there's a little bit of pressure, the plays take so little time, it doesn't matter if Mason Graham or Josiah Stewart get into the backfield because they just get rid of the ball so quick. Michigan can't do that. So really, the defense couldn't get a stop. They got one stop in the first half. And then the offense only scores 10 points and, a short field touchdown. So really, it's the offense again. You got to get more productive on the offense to let your defense rest. And I talking to my buddies, it's like we knew our defense wasn't going to be that great this year because the offense was so bad. The defense was going to be out there more and get tired and so on. 28-10 at halftime. Okay, Michigan comes out second half. Oregon's had this track record of being a terrible third quarter team that continued again, and Michigan gets a 3-and-out. They get the ball back and they go down. They actually did some trick plays that worked again. That's like the only thing that really is a long distance play for Michigan is a trick play. And, they go down, they get a touchdown. Both Michigan's touchdowns were Davis Warren kind of improvising. He actually, I think, had a pretty good day passing. And that's what became even more frustrating. In the second half, Michigan's coaches decided to start doing like quarterback swapping. Orji Warren, Orji Warren, Orji Warren. And it was maybe one play in the second half where Orji actually got a decent run, and they kept having him run up the middle, up the middle, up the middle. I didn't understand it. The one run he did well, he went to the outside. I don't understand the runs up the middle. Maybe they thought they were going to get some better rushing, but it didn't work with Mullings, a little bit with Edwards. I don't know why they thought up the middle was what to do, because Orji rushed better last week against Michigan State on the outside. So that was very confusing. Now, I don't think Michigan was going to win the game anyways, but man, the second half, the coaches really screwed the pooch. You just think about a few of these things. They just scored, Michigan did, made it 28-17, I think it was, and they get a 3-and-out again, or maybe it was, they were forcing a punt at least. And then on the punt, our lineman covered up the punter, a 4th-and-4 turns into a first down. Great. They turned that into a field goal. But also on that drive, Michigan had to waste a timeout because they had either too many or not enough men on the field coaching. They also got caught with too many men on the field when they decided to do a player, swap, and Oregon didn't. So there were at least 2 extra people on the field. So all of a sudden, Michigan got exposed as being not prepared well. You should have people in the booth watching that and seeing, hey, he's covering the punter, the snapper, rather. You can't have that. Call the timeout for that. That's a timeout that saves your possession. Michigan would have gotten the ball back up 11 just coming off of a touchdown drive. Instead, stupid mistake. The coaches don't catch it. It was an odd formation by Oregon. Give them credit. But the coaches blew it. And the coaches blew a lot in the second half. The whole, then you have Sharon Moore challenging a play where the TV people are like, no, you got to survive the ground, and he challenges anyways, and it took 10 seconds, and yep, the call on the field is confirmed. So I just love how Brad Nessler said Michigan coaches don't know the rules. That's not a great look when the announcer is saying the coaches don't know the rules. Not a good look at all, especially who's your rules official in the booth, right? You should have your own person that knows these rules. That's part of their job. Apparently Michigan doesn't have a good one. So the coaches really let it down. And then, just think of this, the last drive. Michigan has the last drive going there. It's 3rd and 7, and Warren's on the field. And they decide to run with Mullings up the middle for nothing, like a yard or 2. Great, okay. So now, Warren's actually played pretty good. I'll give it to him. He's played pretty good. Samaj Morgan played pretty good. Colson Loveland played really good. So it's 4th down, and what do? You take out your quarterback that can throw the ball and put in the quarterback that can't throw the ball. And while they do a little reverse and try to throw back to Orji, the ball didn't even land in bounds. 4th down fail. So you have your quarterback who's played a really good game in Davis Warren, didn't get a throw on 3rd down, and was taken off the field on 4th down. I think that was just a big, stupid mistake by the coaching staff there. So if that's Kurt Campbell, if that's Sharon Moore saying, let's run this play, that was a big mistake. Your best quarterback wasn't out there, or wasn't able to do anything the last 2 plays of your drive to try to stay in the game. Oregon comes back and methodically goes down a nice 7-minute drive. Michigan's defense couldn't get off the field. What do you guys think, anything of it, that Oregon could have just taken a knee? Sherrone Moore wasn't calling his final timeout. They were inside the 10. You could have just taken the knee and happily gone home with a 31-17 victory. Instead, they go for it, and I wish Michigan would have stopped them. I'm not saying I didn't care. I did care. It's annoying that they went for it and Michigan didn't stop them. I don't know, is that going to plant some bad blood, or is it just like, whatever? You saw Sherrone Moore and I think it's Dan Lanning, their coach, Oregon's coach, talk and embrace for a while there. I don't know, maybe he was apologizing for it or whatever, but I think when you're running up the score, I don't know. As a fan, I didn't like it. Does it really bug me? No. But I didn't really like it too much. But it didn't have any impact on the game. Michigan wasn't winning that game without their top 2 corners, with a gift touchdown because the Big Ten doesn't care to do their job. When you have, so many coaching mistakes and player mistakes along the way, you're not going to beat the #1 team facing that when you make your own so many mistakes. So let's talk about some of the positives, though. No turnovers officially in the game. I would still count that 4th down punt misaligned a turnover. I know it's not, but we would have had the ball. Instead, Oregon got it back. And then the 4th downs where Michigan had the ball, like the last drive for Michigan, they don't officially count that as a turnover, but it's kind of a turnover, but not the really bad one. So 2 games in a row where Michigan didn't have an official turnover. So that's a positive. But the rushing game is drying up. Teams are just teeing off on it, and you're not getting much separation by the wide receivers. Colston Loveland is getting open, which is baffling because he's the only one you really have to cover, and somehow he's still getting open. He had over 100 yards receiving today. And then you have Davis Warren. He actually played a pretty good game again, and then he gets taken off the field because they just think they got to get Orji going. Orji had 1 good run in the game. I don't know, I didn't write it down, but he had, probably like 7, 8 runs in the game, something like that. He had a throw, which was, again, I love when we have it where Orji's throwing, where everyone should be teeing off on him as a runner, and then the people he's trying to throw to are like double covered. Like, how is this faked so poorly by Michigan that the guy who never throws does, and everyone's covered? Meh, it is what it is. So those are my thoughts after the game. Oh, one more thing. Why doesn't Michigan do more play action? I think that's really would be epically good for Davis Warren to do play action. I don't know why you don't do play action on like basically every play. Michigan should, first down, second down, always play action. If you're passing, play action. But they don't like to do that with JJ. It's like they broke it out in the playoffs last year, but that was it. It's like, why it's so hard about doing play action passing? You'd suck the linebackers up. Throw over the top of them to Colston Loveland or Marlon Klein, or the wide receivers maybe can get some separation. So, a loss is a loss. They played better than I thought they would. I thought they were going to get toasted. And I know they added the last touchdown at the end, and they got gifted a touchdown. So maybe it'd be like a 14-point loss. Not terrible, not like, woo! I'm not going to say defeated with dignity like Michigan State Papers did years ago. That's a fun way to talk about losing. But we lost well. It kind of reminds me of Scott Frost when he said, we out-tackled them, right? No. We lost to a better team. Michigan has stuff to clean up. On to the next Big Ten leader, Indiana. To Indiana we go. They just pasted Michigan State. Michigan State was up 10-0, and I think they lost 47-10. Great. That means Michigan's going to be doing really good. Not looking forward to that one either. Oh, so I know. If you're still watching, thanks. I know I'm at over 14 minutes. Do you think Will Johnson's just going to sit out the rest of the year? Me and my brother were talking about that. We think so. We think he's fine, and he's just going to kind of rest and get ready for the NFL draft. He's been out. He's missed 4 games or so, maybe 5 games this year. The last 3 or 4 games now. So we think he's just done. Just looking to the NFL. I mean, don't get me wrong. Michigan's 5-4. If they make a bowl game, they beat Northwestern. Hopefully, they go 6-6. Maybe the Motor City Bowl. Cool. man, he's looking at millions and millions of dollars in the NFL. Why care about these last 3 games of the season? Go to the pros, man. It is what it is. Football's a business. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you have any comments in the box, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I'm able to. Until next time, as always, go Blue.